When I was teaching 7th grade math, I saw something that struck me deeply. It wasn't just who was smart. It wasn't just who grasped concepts quickly or aced the first quiz. It was something else entirely, something harder to measure, but infinitely more powerful. It was the students who didn't give up, the ones who tried again and again, no matter how many times they failed, until they got it right. This is what I want to talk about today. The idea that trying is optional, that effort is somehow secondary to talent or luck, is one of the most damaging beliefs we carry, and I want to say this clearly: there is no excuse for not trying. We often protect ourselves with stories. We say, "I'm not naturally good at this," or "it's too late for me," or even, "why bother, I'll never be as good as them." These are all ways of stepping back from effort, of stepping away from the difficult, uncomfortable work of trying. But trying is not just what leads to success. Trying is success. It's how you grow. It's how you begin to change your life. When we tell ourselves we're not capable, what we're really saying is that we're not willing to face struggle. But struggle is not a signal to stop. It's a signal to lean in. The most successful people I've ever known weren't the fastest, the strongest, or the smartest right out of the gate. They were the ones who stayed, who returned to the challenge with more questions, more determination, more curiosity. They understood something crucial, that trying and failing and trying again is the only way forward. We live in a world that celebrates natural talent, and we admire what looks effortless. But what we don't see are the hours behind the scenes, the setbacks, the hard days, the discipline. Effort doesn't get the spotlight, but it deserves it, because effort is what turns potential into reality. So when you're tired, try. When you're uncertain, try. When the odds feel stacked against you, try. Not because you're guaranteed to succeed, but because the act of trying rewires your mind. It builds resilience. It teaches you who you are, and it shapes who you become. We live in a world that often glorifies natural talent. From a young age, we are drawn to stories of prodigies, people who seem to be born with extraordinary abilities. We point to athletes who were always the fastest, musicians who played by ear as toddlers, or students who never had to study to get top grades. It's tempting to believe that success is about being born gifted. But while talent might open the door, it's effort that carries you through it. Effort is what transforms potential into progress. Without it, talent remains undeveloped and stagnant. You can be naturally good at something, but if you never push yourself, never practice, never face discomfort, you'll be passed by someone who works harder. The truth is, effort builds skill. It builds discipline, resilience, and endurance. These are not glamorous traits. They don't get the spotlight, but they are what sustain success over time. People who rely solely on talent often hit a wall. When they encounter real challenge for the first time, they don't know how to respond. They haven't built the muscles to persevere. On the other hand, those who have learned to try, to fight through struggle, to show up every day regardless of how they feel, those people keep climbing. They may have started behind, but they know how to keep going. They know how to grow. Effort doesn't promise immediate results, and that's why it's often overlooked. We want quick wins and easy solutions. But the real process of learning and improving is slow, sometimes painful, and rarely linear. It takes patience. It takes showing up when you're tired, trying again when you've failed, and pushing past the voice in your head that says, maybe you're just not good at this. Talent doesn't teach you that. Effort does, and the incredible thing is, effort is available to everyone. Not everyone is born with the same strengths, backgrounds, or opportunities. But effort is something you control. You choose how hard you work, how often you practice, and how long you stick with something. You may not be the best right now, but you can become better. You can keep learning. You can keep moving forward. That is the power of effort. It levels the playing field in a way talent never could. What separates those who grow from those who stay the same is not some rare ability, but a willingness to keep trying. Effort matters more than talent because effort leads to mastery. It leads to confidence that's been earned, not given. It builds a mindset that says, even if I don't get it now, I will eventually. And that belief, That grit is far more valuable than any natural advantage, because it doesn't just help you succeed at one thing. It helps you succeed at anything you set your mind to. Self-doubt is one of the most powerful forces that holds people back, not because it's loud, but because it's convincing. It sounds like reason. It disguises itself as logic. It tells you things like, "You're not ready," or "Others are better," or "What if you fail?" And over time, these thoughts settle into the background of your mind, shaping your choices in subtle but significant ways. One of the most common outcomes of self-doubt is excuses. We tell ourselves stories to justify inaction, not because we're lazy, but because we're afraid. Excuses are comfortable. They protect us from the possibility of failure. When we say, "I don't have the time," or "It's just not the right moment," we're not necessarily being dishonest. Sometimes we do have limited time or competing responsibilities, but often those excuses aren't the real reason we're not trying. They're shields we put up to avoid vulnerability, because trying means you might not succeed. It means risking disappointment, criticism, or the realization that something will take more from you than you expected. Self-doubt feeds off that fear. It says, "Why try if it might not work?" But the truth is, no one escapes failure, and no one gets better without first being bad at something. The only difference between those who improve and those who stay stuck is that one group pushes through their doubts and chooses to try anyway. The others wait for confidence to appear before they act, and that day never really comes. Confidence doesn't arrive fully formed. It's built by action, by showing up again and again in spite of self-doubt. People often believe they need to feel ready before they begin, but readiness is a myth. You're never fully ready to step outside your comfort zone. If you wait until you feel completely prepared, you'll be waiting forever. The way forward is to act first, even when you're uncertain, especially when you're uncertain. That's how courage is developed, not in the absence of fear, but in moving through it. Excuses created by self-doubt can seem harmless. They can even look responsible, but over time, they rob us of opportunities. They delay growth. They keep us from discovering what we're actually capable of. And the tragedy is, most of the time, the limits we believe in aren't real. They are imagined, constructed out of fear, not fact. You may never get rid of self-doubt completely. Most people don't, but you can learn not to listen to it. You can recognize the moment when doubt starts to whisper, and instead of backing away, you can lean in. You can say, "I hear you, but I'm going to try anyway." That's not recklessness, that's bravery. In the end, the only real way to quiet self-doubt is through action, through trying, learning, adjusting, and trying again. That's how you replace excuses with evidence, proof that you are more capable than you once believed. Trying isn't just a way forward, it's how you reclaim your power from fear.